What's up, players? Another beautiful day in Las Cloudia. We are prepping for a release on our favorite little redhead in Las Cloudia. So I know some people are excited. And pretty much what I've been doing since I've been slacking in this event so much is today I kind of started going over arcs. For good reason. For good reason. I have a bunch of ether saved up. And I was about to just spend some of these ethers and get some of these awesome items. And I figured I would cover this. Because I feel like a lot of people could be in the same situation as me, right? We just had this awesome banner that yielded UR arcs, right? So a lot of people that have ethers saved up, they're going to go straight into their UR arcs, which, yes, I have dumped some ethers in here. I still have like 22 of them. But the first thing people are going to do is look at some of these items, because obviously, yes, you're going to want to get the most powerful items. You're going to want to get as much bang for your buck as you can with the ethers that you have. So clearly, the UR arcs become the first option, right? They're going to give you 6-7 star items. That's going to help you out the most, right? Maybe. And this is one of those cases here. And we're going to get into that because I'm looking at this gun and I'm looking at another gun. And I think for a lot of accounts, this might be a factor. A lot of people might have to choose between this gun and the Tristram gun. I think that's what it's called. So we're going to get into that and we're going to see which one I actually choose. So it's back to business as usual. I've had a couple people ask me on why I put a video up talking about, let's see, what was it called? Fitness channel trolls. Literally, guys, the only reason I did that is because it seems that if you are a video game channel, no matter what your background is, no matter how successful you are, no matter what you actually know, I mean, you could be a freaking doctor and people are just going to be like, you're a video game channel, you don't know shit. So that is part of the reason why I made that vid. And actually, I absolutely love that comment thread because about once a week I get to deal with some crazy, insane individual that tries to argue with me over my medical background and the advice that I gave. And a lot of times what gets brought up is, well, you have a video game channel, so you can't possibly know shit about shit. So that is part of the reason why I put that video out. It is specific to that comment thread. So before anybody like tries to bring a handful of shit over to me, they can at least watch that video and know what that they have to deal with. And I have yet to find anybody that can sufficiently shut me down in that comment section. So in case any of you were wondering, that is why I made that video. If anything, in the future, I will just make some sort of fitness channel so I can argue with those assholes. Anyway, for the time being, here we are, back in Las Cloudia, back to business as usual, and we're looking at these awesome arcs. So look at this gun, the bolt cannon Blaines. I always thought I said blades, bolt cannon blades. Bolt cannon Blaines. This thing is pretty gnar, especially if you have Ray. Thunder attack damage plus 10%, special attack power plus 10%. That is just effing phenomenal. This would work out great for Alice too if she wasn't light element, but she was thunder element, because this would also help with her special attack power, but it doesn't. But it works well for Ray, and Ray has a pretty powerful S4. An extra 10% to that can be pretty damn gnar. So we're looking at weapons like this. It's clearly a good choice. It's a powerful one. But what I can do is I can go over to another arc that has a gun that might actually be more applicable. This might be a better choice. Why am I saying that? Well, if we look at the covert gun Trishula, I don't care what her name is. She's a sweet gun. This thing has 156 strength and it's light element, okay? But the trait on it is what is really phenomenal. If damage is originally reduced due to enemies' attribute resistance, ignore attribute resistance. So, for a character like Ray, who is only doing lightning damage, or for a character like Alice who is only doing light damage. When you find an opponent that is 100% resistant to light element or lightning element or any element you freaking want, you can equip this gun, right? And if damage is originally reduced due to enemy's attribute resistance, ignore attribute resistance. So this gun, which is much more easily attainable than the other gun that we were just looking at off the UR Ark, this actually makes a lot of sense, right? Because for a lot of characters that are just locked into one or two elements, this is going to help you overcome elemental resistance. Specifically in the past, we have had a boss. It was one of these giant chicken things, big surprise. But it had 200 resistance to every single freaking element. So what could you do? Well, you could bring a non-elemental party. And I believe at the time we didn't have that many options, right? Or you could bring a character with this gun. And you are going to ignore the immunity it has to whatever element you're using on this character. So a lot of people use this gun to cheese that boss fight. And if Last Cloudia has thrown it at us once, it can throw it at us again. So the whole thing is, that other gun might have 100 more attack. But none of that's going to matter if the enemy that you're fighting has a 200 resistance. You can have an attack as high as you want. They're just going to ignore all the damage. So this gives you a way around that. I personally believe this item is clutch. I do. I really do. And I've been waiting to try to naturally farm this thing out as quick as I can without having to throw ethers in it. But this is just how important this gun is because of what it lets you do. I will actually prioritize getting this gun instead of Ray's gun. Alright, and just so you guys know I'm not lying, here we go. I'm actually dropping some of my ethers on it. Okay, so yeah, we got about 15 of them left. I would like to grind this thing out naturally, but hey, it is what it is. So we might as well go over some of the other UR arcs that people may have gotten recently. Let's see. The God Welkin Ring. This thing, light/dark damage, attack power plus 10%, light and dark magic attacks minus 10% enemy's mind, and deal damage. So this is going to give you a boost to your light and dark magic. It is also going to let you break your enemy's mind and deal some damage, and it's giving you some light and dark resistance. That is pretty cool. What is that? Some silence resistance. This is a very, very good item. Okay, 98 intelligence. Honestly, if you really want to take Lily to the next level, well, this is Lily's ring. Lily 2.0, of course. And this will work on normal Lily as well. So this is a good power play item if you really feel like having Lily clear a shit ton of content for you. Just remember, this is going to apply to light and dark damage. Those are the elements that Lily's going to cover. So if you run into a boss that is just immune to those, it doesn't matter how good the items are that you get for Lily. If Lily just should sit that fight out because you're fighting something that's immune to magic or just what Lily does, right? So that's something important to remember. When I'm spending these ethers, I am trying to spend it on something that is overall going to help the whole account. It's going to help me defeat some bosses. It's going to help me get around resistance, and it's something that I think I can apply to a lot of different characters, which is why that Tristram gun was the first thing that I brought up, because I could put that on anybody. I can spend 2 SC to give them equip machine. I do believe that's what it's called. And then bam, they can pretty much ignore resistances. And I think that is so applicable all over the place. You can always find a character that can bank off of that. And I would go for items like that first. I personally would, and then whatever you have left over, spend it on like these power play arcs that are really going to take a character to the next level. Here we have the, what is this? The something war? Great War of Ruin. I don't know why I forget that. So this has the Ring of Wisdom. Ring of Wisdom, Intelligence 94, great for a mage, also some MP and some mind. Battlestar automatically auto-revive effect on unit. So this is going to really help with a zombie build on a mage. And that can win you a game, because if you're fighting something that literally throws a giant nuke, as long as you live up to that nuke, you can come back to life from it, and hopefully at that point you have enough power left over to finish your enemy off. A lot of times this is going to help you get through, you guessed it, a threshold, right? The enemy boss is going to be at 10-20% health. He's going to drop some effing nuke. This is going to help a mage come back from that, and hopefully your mage can cast off a few spells and finish that fight off. So this is a good item for a mage, because this can lead to you actually beating a tough boss, where you would otherwise just get wiped. So this thing is pretty solid, right? But remember, both of these rings, they're only going to go onto a mage, okay? And you know, that gun is only going to go onto a physical damager. I just think the gun is more applicable. Well, actually, I would say that this God Welkin ring, I'm sorry, the Ring of Wisdom is more applicable than the other ring for Lily. Anybody can use Come Back to Life, and this is giving you solid stats, right? The other ring, Lily's ring, the big thing that this does is it's going to give you light and dark, magic attack power, which is wonderful for Lily. It's not as useful for other units, for other mages. Any other mage would probably want the ring that gives them the same stats and lets them come back to life, unless they're casting light and dark magic. So keep your eye out for that. If you have a specific build in mind for a character that's going to carry you through everything, sure. But for newer accounts, I would really try to get an item that has multiple use in your account, that you can put it on different characters. So here's a good one, the Zelvis Blade. Now, as long as you don't mind doing light damage, this is a solid effing weapon. Crit rate 5%, light attack damage plus 10%. This is amazing for Roland. Look at the super high strength on that, and it's going to give you a little bit more intelligence to help you cast your God Heal, and it's going to give you 20 more MP. Just remember though, this is light element. This is a light element weapon, but there's a lot of characters that would absolutely love this. Alice likes to do light damage. That sword can help her out. Roland definitely does light damage. So there's that. But again, remember, you are forced into that one element. But hey, as long as you combine it with that Tristram gun, it doesn't matter that you're only doing light damage, right? So from here we start looking at some of the LR arcs and what they have to offer. I haven't really looked at this thing. Regular attacks have a chance to recover 3% hit points. I actually kind of wish that was MP. This is light as well. It's 177 strength, and it's a hammer. Actually, this would be really cool on Rem, except Rem can't really recover hit points when she's in her transformed state. If this could get around that, it would be awesome. 177 strength on a hammer like that, and it's giving you some good mind, right? So a lot of these UR arcs are going to have some good stuff on them. It's also a good time to remind everybody, do some arc farming. Get in here, look through your arcs, because I've been seeing a lot of little twinkles and I've been picking up extra stuff. I don't know what the protocol is for putting all these little goodies in these arcs. It seems to me like every time we get kind of an update, I go through the arcs and I see shiny things, and it's just kind of a good time to try to harvest again. The Pumpkin King armor. I am not going to spend ethers to get this. It is a decent armor though. I already got this thing to 51% just from playing through the event. Eventually I will just grind that thing out and it'll be a good armor to put on a tank. But nothing I want to sink ethers into. We have Rem's headband. This thing is Narnar. Non-attribute physical attack damage plus 10%. And reduce magic damage taken by 10%. This is just an awesome item. This is a great choice because it's so freaking applicable to any unit that's doing non-attribute physical attacks. Bam. You just got more damage. And you're taking less magic damage. It's giving you a little bit of resistance to, what is that? Looks like somebody with a headache. I don't know. But this is also giving some defense, some mind, and 150 hit points. But really, it's for that non-attribute physical attack damage. 10% goes a long way. It's going to help you get to damage cap, and it's going to help you take less damage. So Rem's headband has been definitely on the top of a lot of people's lists because it's applicable all over the place. And it's kind of one of the best ways of thinking about it is I want to spend my ethers on something that I can apply in multiple party setups, right? We do have the magic crystal necklace. This one I did get. This one I did get for my little ice queen, my little snow bunny and fleece. When using skills, slightly recover MP, which she needs. When magically attacking, slightly recover SCT. And to top it all off, this is giving you 70 intelligence and some 30 mind. This is a solid item for a caster, especially a caster that is also using her skill kit in between spells. This is going to give you more MP and it's going to feed your SCT when you're using your magic. So as soon as you're done casting your spell, you probably have, one of your S's to throw. S1, 2, 3. Very good, solid item. This is why it's at 100% for me. I do enjoy running that, right? And then we get to normal SSR arcs, okay? This sledge, I was actually kind of looking at it because, man, at battle starts and mine minus 10% and double your strength. Wait. And not double your strength and added to your strength. So you're going to take minus 10% to intelligence and mind, but you're going to add that to your strength. Honestly, I would love to see how this performs on Rem because it is a hammer. She has all those amazing hammer boosts. I just cannot, and let's see, it's non-elemental damage too. I just feel like I have better things, like that gun that I can use to get rid of anybody's elemental resistance. I just think that is more applicable and it's going to help me out. But don't get me wrong, I would love to have the sledge to put on Rem. And along with two-handed hammer and giant killing. Giant killing is actually what I'm all about right now. Skill and special damage to bosses plus 20%. I can't wait to get that. I think it's worth every one of those 9 SCs. So this is something I definitely will be working on in the future, and it has piqued my ire, but you know what? I cannot justify actually spending some of those orbs on this, right? Then we have the Ogetsu. This thing's very interesting. The Sinister Juhitsu. Did I even say that right? Junihato. Yeah, it wasn't even close. Women only. Enemy defeating this unit takes plus 20% damage and 2 random basic status ailments. Okay, so this is something that will help you kill a boss because you're going to do 20% more damage. That is just a phenomenal break. But you got to play your cards right. You have to sacrifice a maiden to do this. It's a women's only armor, and this is only going to proc when that woman dies. So weren't we just looking at a ring that'll bring some sort of mage back to life? Well, here you go. I mean, this is a great way. If you have that ring and you have this thing, and actually if you have the little ice queen, when she dies, she does a bunch of damage. Puck does a bunch of damage to the enemy. So if she was wearing this, which I don't see why she wouldn't, it's giving good hit points, it's giving MP, so it's like asking a mage to wear it. It's giving good defense in mind, right? And you can sacrifice her, and with one of those rings, she can come right back to life. and she can start dropping bombs. But on top of that, the enemy that you're fighting is going to take 20% more damage and have 2 random basic status ailments. That is phenomenal. That will help you kill a boss. There's been a lot of thresholds where bosses just get super powered up. They cast a bunch of buffs on themselves. And them taking 20% more damage is going to help you cut your way through those buffs. Like, yes, they might get 10% more to their defense and mind, but hey, at least they're taking 20% more damage. So that's going to help you offset some of the crazy buffs some of these bosses get, in the middle of a threshold. And just 20% more damage is just an amazing buff, and this is one of the ways that you can get it. This does fancy a zombie build, because you're going to want this girl to come back to life and hopefully heal her up, and she can start throwing out some nasty damage. But I think I've always thought this is an interesting item, and I think this is very applicable. Right? If you got this item, you can fit this almost into any party, and with a couple of other simple items that let you come back to life or abilities, you can really bank on this. So I don't know if I'm going to be sleeping on this one. Let's see. We are already at 34%. So I have been putting some ether into this thing here and there just to kind of remind myself of the power play that you can get with this thing. Terra Melf 2. Yeah, that's right. I also need to unlock that. What level is this? Level 8. If it was level 9, I'd do it right now. All right. We have the Rebel Dragons. This is a Dragoon Spike. This is a Spear. It's Lightning. It's Thunder Element. I have nothing I can do with this. My Sukasa was lost on my other account, and pretty much I just wanted this Ark for Skylord. But hey, if you have somebody that really needs a good Spear, as long as you don't mind the lightning on it, that's probably a pretty good go-to bet. That thing has like 200 attack. Let's see, what does this thing give us? The Aqua Mirage Attire. Fire damage minus 10%, additional minus 15% of fire magic. So this is very niche. This is going to help you fight against fire. I'm assuming you can damn right make a character just about immune to fire if you choose the right character with the right skills, and on top of that add fire damage minus 10% to it. This is one of those things that's going to help you fight E-free, and it's also giving you 10 fire resistance, and it's giving you 5 ice resistance, but it's making you weak to lightning. Not really into this one all that much. I only see it being applicable here and there. Let's see. What do we got here? Oh, the anti-magic mask. Here's a good one. Here is a good one. This is something you're going to be able to use on multiple characters when you are fighting liches and mages and just magic DPS. Less likely to be targeted by enemies, but chance for magic damage taken to become 1. Imagine how pissed off Yoda would be if he spent all the time in the world casting, what is that, Catastrophe? Armageddon. Yeah, you cast Armageddon on you, this thing procs, Armageddon hits you for 1 damage. So this is a very cool item. Okay, it's given MP and some mind. This can help you definitely deal with some gnarly magic being thrown your way. So, good item. Good item. You can use this in a lot of different party combinations. Fairly easy to get. It's been out for a while. Storm Dragon. This thing. This is a limited arc. Cajun's Longsword. I'm actually interested in this thing because, yes, okay, this thing is giving 115 strength, and it's non-attribute, okay? But the thing is, it's also giving you strength plus 15%. That is huge. Think about this. If your base strength is 1,000, which most characters are at this point are at like 1,200 and up, if your base strength is just 1,000, this is going to give you 150 extra strength. So it's going to be 265 strength attack weapon. And the higher your base strength is, the more you're going to get out of it. Non-attribute. This could be very useful for somebody. I honestly, I think this might actually replace the Mana Blade. If you aren't a day 1 player and you couldn't get the Mana Blade, which I think is like 200 attack, non-element. I don't have it in front of me, so don't quote me on this, but I think that was the strongest sword we could get in the game. When the game launched, it was 200 attack. It was Randy's Mana Blade. I believe it's non-elemental. This thing puts that to sleep. That is no longer the best non-elemental sword in the game. If I'm wrong about this, it's probably because I don't have Randy's sword on here, but I do think this sword takes that one. As long as you have 1,000 base strength, right? You're just going to crank out a ton of strength from this, and you're going to get a lot of attack, non-attribute attack. So this is a good sword, right? Really think about this. That 15% strength, it's gonna add a lot to this. And this is a fairly easy item to get. We can grind this out. A lot of people can use swords. It's just a good idea. It doesn't look that impressive when you first look at it, but this thing is. It's going to give you a high attack value. And I think this is one of those items that's applicable all over the place, right? So, food for thought. This is a good item. If you did manage to get the Storm Dragon from the Slime collab. Alright, what is this thing? The Unchained Beast. I believe this is a spear. Yes, this is the real spear that I wanted for Tsukasa because it is dark element. He has a bunch of dark boosts. It's giving you good strength. When physically attacking, a chance to half the enemy's defense or attribute resistance and do damage. That's phenomenal. Like if you have, if your attribute resistance is 100, boom, it's down to 50. So that is fairly awesome. Anybody out there that has a Tsukasa, man, I suggest getting this thing for him. It's going to take him to another level. This did give him a huge power boost. I don't have a Tsukasa anymore, and that's why I did not invest into it. Let's see. Then we have the Mithril Relief. This is, what's his name? God, what is his name? Balin. This is Bay's accessory. This is highly sought after for the simple fact, 65 strength, 200 hit points. 65 strength is great on an accessory. When a sword is equipped, boost movement speed and skill damage plus 10%. Skill damage is your S1 through S4. That is typically what a sword wielder uses. And boosted movement speed, you can't go wrong with that. And just the super high strength on it. This is a good accessory. Just with a sword as equipped, it doesn't matter what element that sword is. Anybody that can use a sword can take advantage of this, increase their skill damage, and it doesn't matter what element that sword is. The Mithril Relief is definitely a top tier accessory, and unfortunately mine's only at 11%. So I might have to go back and look at this one. That does cover a lot of ground, right? We have Blaze Garden. Here's the thing, guys. Please share if you know about this. This gives you the Blaze VIP card. I have not unlocked this. And actually, if anybody can tell me what type of gear it gives you access to, maybe I might want to. I don't know. If there's a couple nice pieces of gear in there that are actually top tier that we can purchase from this Blaze VIP card, I'm sure somebody out there has it. Leave me a comment, please. Let everybody know what you can get with this thing. Mine's at 32%, and it's sitting there until I can actually figure out what items you can get from that. Okay, we have this thing. This is another hammer. This is 238 earth damage hammer when physically attacking, chance to break enemy's guard. This is pretty cool. The thing is, a unit like Rem who is using a hammer does not want the earth damage attached to it. So then this kind of becomes a niche hammer. And when I'm looking at hammers, I'm thinking of my Rem. So I want them to be non-elemental because she has non-attribute attack rise 1, 2, whatever. The point is she's not going to be able to stack all of that extra ability damage with this weapon because it's earth element from my understanding of it. So this one was a skip to me, but if anybody can find a use for that, more power to you, depending on what characters you're running. Oh, and look at that. Look at that. What are we getting here? Oh boy, little tiny crystals all over the place. Oh boy, can we get one of the big crystals? Okay, maybe next time. Maybe next time. So we have the Militia of the Departed, the Dead. And this thing gives Abyssal Silver. 72 intelligence, 20 MP. Use MP to make magic attacks dark if the enemy's resistance to dark is lower than resistance to the original attribute. Okay, so with this is actually very interesting. This is interesting. If the enemy's resistance to dark is lower than resistance to other attributes. So if you find an enemy that has low dark resistance, but it has resistance to everything else, and you just happen to not have anybody that can do dark damage, you can equip this to a mage, and no matter what magic attack they use, it's going to count as dark. You really think about that, because for a girl like Elsa who can empower her fire spells, and she can cast down an empowered Crimson Flare, which is like 3 of them instead of 1, if she's wearing this ring, that Crimson Flare is going to be doing dark damage. So that's pretty impressive, right? I don't know how well this works with Yoda. He does non-elemental. Enemy's dark resistance. It should work with Yoda. You should be able to cast Apocalypse with this and make Apocalypse do dark damage as long as your enemy has a low dark resistance. Here's what's cool about this. To my knowledge, dark resistance is still the easiest resistance to break in the game. There's tons of characters that can break dark resistance and stack it with weaken. That may have changed. You can't exactly quote me on that, but when the game first launched, dark resistance was the easiest resistance to break for a long time. Might even still hold that title. Haven't exactly checked, but for a long time, that was the way that it was. In fact, if you go back to my very old vids, I talk about dark element, and I talk about how easy it is to stack a bunch of breaks on it. So this is actually a pretty cool ring to power up mages that are stuck into a different element, but it's only going to work if you're fighting an enemy whose dark resistance is lower than anything else. But that can easily be done. Like I said, there's plenty of heroes, and maybe depending on the heroes that you have in your roster, if you have a bunch of heroes that can lower dark resistance specifically, you might be able to cheese with this item, right? You just get a powerful mage and you set up the rest of your party to break dark. As soon as the enemy's dark resistance is lower than the other ones, your mage can just go ham, right? And they're going to be doing a ton of damage. So this is a very neat little item if you use it properly. Definitely don't count it out. Stardust Live, this one's been around for a while. The tailcoat. Nullifies strength, intelligence, defense, and mind debuffs. So this is getting rid of debuffs, and this is giving some pretty hefty MP defense and mind. And it's giving you light resistance. Pretty damn good armor. Definitely worth its 6-star. You know what? If you're really worried about being broken, well, this will stop that. You will not be broken anymore. So that could be useful depending on the fight that you're going into. I hear that little sound. Where is it? Come on, we're waiting for it. I know you guys heard it too. I heard that little twinkle. That means there is an item for me to grab here somewhere. And yes, sometimes you have to wait 20-30 seconds for them to come back. There it is. And it's only going to make that... Ah, damn it, I hate that you have to double click it. That's right, you have to highlight the actual picture first, and then you have to wait. We're gonna wait the 10 seconds. I'm sorry, guys, I gotta see what this is. As soon as it comes back, I'll actually be able to click on it. For anybody new, here we go. This is how you farm stuff off of arcs. And yes, I did just waste 25 seconds getting 2 of the magic tomes. But you never know. You never know what, they're going to yield. I've gotten like some rainbow crystals and stuff before. Of course, we are right back to... Oh no, that's right. This is the Holy Robe. This is interesting because permanent HP MP regeneration effects. This is good, mostly because of the MP. So this, we fought some bosses that literally just drain your MP. This is going to help you with that. And overall, this is a very solid robe, right? Anybody can wear it that can equip robes. This is not female only. It's also giving you some stun resist, some light and dark, attribute resistance, just 5%. But really, for a robe, this thing's pretty effing gnarly if you think about it. You're getting 106 intelligence. I mean, hey, it's not as good as having a 200 intelligence staff that you're dual wielding, but you don't have to dual wield, and you're still getting 100 intelligence, but you're also getting MP, you're getting some defense, and you're getting 172 mind. So for a lot of builds, you might want to rather equip this than dual wield 2 staffs. It all depends on what you want to do. If you want to go balls to the wall with the highest intelligence you can, obviously you can spend 9 SC to dual wield. But this is a pretty damn good option, right? I'm probably going to have 100 less intelligence, but I will have the MP, the defense, the mind, and permanent HP MP regen effect. Definitely a good item. Definitely a good item. Okay, so I'm going to have to come back and think about that one too. This one is actually important to me, as you can see, is at 64.3% because this is the golden armor. More likely to be targeted by enemies. Physical damage taken minus 10%. I love damage reduction in this game. For a character like Roland, who already can have 50% damage reduction, and you can start stacking damage reductions together, and then if you can have Theria there to give you 20% damage reduction and 30, all of a sudden your Roland's running around with 120% damage reduction or something stupid. Not only that, but this is giving you 213 defense and 164 mind. It is effing awesome. So that is why I'm trying to get this armor. I think it is a huge upgrade to Roland's armor that you can get from his item shop, like his pay-to-win item, because I believe his armor increases his aura's strength by like 5%, and it does not have a super high defense. So by swapping that out with this, you're getting double the defense, you're getting physical damage reduction, and you're getting a good mind. It's a no-brainer. I cannot wait to get the gold armor for Roland. And Roland, I take him to just about every boss fight. He is definitely useful. So that is why this thing's at 60%. And then we start getting into the staff game. I've had people ask me about Heaven's Cry. Listen, folks, you're going to, unless you do not have a mage in your account at all, and you don't care about mages, then you're not going to care about getting a super powerful staff. If you do have some sort of mage and you want them decked out, one of these super powerful staffs is good to invest into. I've invested into the Heaven's Cry before because it's magical, critical damage plus 30% with great stats. Dual wieldable, of course, and this is going to help a lot of mages like Lily and stuff get to damage cap, right? Because Lily takes a small damage penalty to double the amount of hits. So magic critical damage plus 30%, when Lily has a crit build, her crits are going to do more, and that is going to get those crits up to damage cap. And if you can get Lily to damage cap, it's amazing because you have double the amount of hits up at damage cap. You're going to crank out way more damage. So personally, Heaven's Cry is wonderful for any mage that is using a crit build, and some mages have the ability to break elemental resistance when they get a crit, and they're just made for crit build. So this, the Far Cry, I even grinded this out on my old account. It is definitely worth it, and that is why this thing's already at 36%. So we have the Far Cry. Let's see, here we have the Brisk Blade. I would suggest getting this if you are if you're using Celios, right? But it's kind of specific to him. If you think about it, it's ice element, defeating an enemy recovers SCT. That's pretty good for him. It's giving good strength, defense, and mind, but you know, it's only really a few characters in the game that can really take advantage of it. I would much prefer just a non-elemental weapon that a bunch of different characters that can equip with a super high attack on it. And here we go. We are up to the Venocleave. These are amazing. I grinded this out for Ray, right? Because Ray really shines with a claw. This gives good strength. It is giving him dark element, but regular attacks have a chance to poison an enemy. Damage to poison enemies plus 50%. That's effing huge. And if you're running Loga in your party and you already have someone like Loga to be poisoning the shit out of everyone, this just becomes a really good option for anybody that can equip claws, and especially to characters that have claw high boost, claw super high boost, and claw super hooper duper whatever. I don't even know how many of them we have at this point, but claws are pretty important to a few characters, Ray being one of them. So I had to get this because I was so happy to get Ray, and this is the weapon that Ray has equipped right now. I dig it. We throw some poison down. 50% more is a ton of damage. We have the ancient weapon. This thing is actually very interesting. Alt defense. This is something I'm definitely working on for my Roland. This is an amazing accessory. 70 defense, 70 mind. Activates automatic guard on boss battles, defense plus 10%. That's going to jack up Roland's defense super high. This gives you an automatic guard chance. Guard rate is really low in this game, so things like this help. And for a defensive accessory, it's giving you good stats. 70 defense, 70 mind. I'm still kind of working on getting this thing. It is at 16%. I haven't been stressing it too much. I personally want that golden armor for Roland before I get that. What do we have here? An axe. Yeah, this is the Lapis Axe Jilvin. Greatly increased counter strength. This has a certain pirate's name all over it. This is like Bluebeard's axe. Yeah, Dora's beloved battle axe. This is for like a counter build. You know, it's a powerful axe. If you're in the market for that, I don't know. This item I would probably skip. I don't even think I should have to explain that. We just don't have that many axe users in the game right now. And I do believe that. What's his name? What is Kyle's adopted father's name? My goodness. I'm pretty sure he wants to use an earth axe anyway. You guys know who I'm talking about. His name's just not coming to my mind right now. We have the Curse Sword Crestbane. This thing is very interesting. Battle start, increased strength by 25% of mind. Current mind will be halved. I can't talk about this too much. It is Dark Element. I can't talk about this thing until I can actually get it and test it. But if anybody has this thing and has actually managed to mess around with it and see what you can do with it, I think you can crank out a shit ton of strength with this thing. Really, just think about how much... well, I can't really compare that other sword because that is scaling off of your overall strength. This increased strength by 25% of mind. So if your mind is a super high stat, this is going to take 25 of that. If you have a mind of 1,000, this is going to give you 250 attack, right? With 1,000 mind, because it's going to take 25% of that. And then it's going to cut your mind down to 500. The big question people had is it going to give you 25% of the mind after it's cut in half or before? And I don't know because I haven't managed to use this. So if anybody has any info on the Cursed Sword Crestbane, please leave us a comment and let me know. It's one of those things where, hey, it's at like 35%. I'm working my way there, and it is definitely an interesting item, but I just haven't got there yet. Ooh, we're fishing.